Hello and welcome to a quick little flight here today. We're flying from Paris, France to Frankfurt in Germany. We'll be taking off from Charles de Gaulle, LFPG, and heading all over to EDDF, Frankfurt domain. Today it's going to be a bit of cargo ops. We're going to be flying the DHL A330-300 P2F variant. That's going to be interesting. I don't usually do cargo operations, so I'm looking forward to that. It is early morning here in Paris, around 8:30. As you can see, it is just a short little hop with most of it comprising of the departure and arrival procedures. We have the alternate for today is Munich, EDDM. Alright, so we are parked at cargo ramp M7 in Charles de Gaulle, and we're going to be heading all over to Frankfurt right here. What we want to do is we want to turn off at the end of the runway and head on over to the cargo ramps at Frankfurt. We're not going to select a parking that we're going to go into. We're just going to see what happens after we land. To take off today, we'll be using runway 26R out of Paris. Yeah. And we'll be using the departure BUB6BE. That's a departure that we have chosen for the day. And to fly into Frankfurt. To fly into Frankfurt, we're going to be using ILS-25C, or in other words, ILS-X 25C. And the arrival procedure we're going to be using to come into Frankfurt is going to be IMCO 1B. Now, as you can see, there's a manual leg at the arrival procedure, which we're actually not going to follow. We're going to delete the manual leg and just fly in directly from DF616 to DF526. We're going to program that in the FMC in just a minute. We've got our EFB already. Let's go ahead and load the flight plan that I have from SimBrief here. We've got our GPU connected in ground services already. We are going to be using GSX today, so except for the GPU. So let's go ahead and get the aircraft started up first from cold and dark, and then we'll move on to programming in the flight computer. Batteries to on. External power on. Let's turn on our the emergency lights here. Turn on nav lights. Strobe lights can come to automatic. Crew oxygen supplies can come to on, and ADIRS systems to nav. We're flying out of LFPG/EDDF, and we're going to use flight number 123 today. Cost index 60, and cruising altitude for the day is supposed to be 25,000. Flight plan LFPG departure is going to be 26R. We're going to use BUB6. Let's insert that. Let's start inserting our waypoints for the day as well. So we have the waypoint Ranux. From Ranux, we have a bunch of airways to follow. So let's go ahead and input that. We have inserted all our airways and waypoints that we need to. Let's just go ahead and select our arrival for today as well. We'll do that right here. IMCO 1B. This isn't usually done in real life, as many of you probably know, but we're just going to go ahead and program that anyway, make our life a little easier. Okay, so there is that manual leg I was explaining about before that I am not interested in doing today. So let me go ahead and delete that, and we can get rid of the flight discontinuity as well. Flight plan discontinuity. And there we go, we have our plan for today. Now we need to do the performance part of this. So for performance, I'm going to sync the data that we have. I'm going to calculate it. So flaps 1.5 up as THS, 153 V1, 160 VR, and 161 V2. Let's go ahead and set the QNH for the day, 1037. Okay. Let's turn on the flight directors here, see if everything is okay. And let's put our cruising altitude to 25,000. And as you can see, we have managed mode available on speed, heading and altitude. So we're all good here. We've got some serious icing conditions all over the airframe, the tail, the nose, the wingtips. So I think we're going to have to request some anti-icing here as well. So let me go to GSX, go to additional services and request a de-icing. So fuel is being loaded and we'll be able to see that shortly when we see the, there it is, fuel is rising. Fuel is being loaded by GSX. We'll let that continue and we'll wait for the processor to finish. Once that's done, we'll go ahead and get ready for pushback, followed by engine start. Turning on APU. While we're pushing back, we can go ahead and turn on the fuel pumps, and we can also turn on the APU bleed, which I've actually turned that on earlier, but anyway, we can turn that on as well in anticipation of engine start. Let's go ahead and turn on our beacon lights, ignition to start, and we'll begin today with the left engine. Got pretty bad icing conditions on the wings, all the leading edges. I'm curious to see whether that actually affects any performance, or is just the modeling of the ice visually. So I'm just gonna leave that. I'm not even gonna request any more de-icing or anything. We're gonna go ahead and see what happens, you know. Let's be adventurous like that. Oh, stupid. Let's turn on engine number 2. Engine number 2 is also available to us. We can turn off the ignition. We can set it to normal here. We have power from the engines. I think we can turn off our APU bleed, and the APU beacon lights are on already. Let's go ahead and set our taxi lights to a nose light to taxi, sorry. And with that, I think we are ready for taxiing. We're gonna go ahead and drop our flaps here as well. Releasing parking brakes. And yeah, it's going to be a long taxi today, so I will probably join you at the end of the runway. Oh, look at that. We've got an aircraft doing a very low flyby right across the airfield. How fascinating. Oh, and it's stuck there. Oh my gosh. Is this an MSFS 2024 problem, or is this an FSLTL problem? How silly is that? Anyway. Okay. I will join you guys as I hold short of runway 26R, and there is a spinning aircraft right ahead of us. Another beautiful glitch. Okay, anyway. Let's go ahead and turn on our strobe lights. Let's turn on our landing lights. Let's set nose light to takeoff. Let's turn off anti-ice. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to leave them on. Let's turn on our seatbelt signs. Let's set auto brake to maximum. Let's arm the ground spoilers. Flaps have been set. Gears, okay. Auto brake have been configured. Okay. Predictive wind shear to automatic. Our TCAS can come to on here. Can put it on TA. Alright, pretty much that's it, and we are ready for takeoff. Parking brakes released. Okay, we have engines and thrust set. Gear up. Flaps up. Auto throttle engaged. Managed mode on all three. Okay. Alright, we've passed our transition altitude. Let's go ahead and put that parameter to standard. We are on our way to 25,000 feet. Speed, heading and altitude being automatically managed by the autopilot. We have auto throttle set. Auto brakes have been switched off. Ground spoilers can come to disarmed. And the lights, nose lights can come to off. Landing lights can remain on until 10,000 feet. That is it. Now we just have to climb out towards our cruising altitude and enjoy the views. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are supposed to be below 24,000 feet at Raswo, and we are not gonna make that. So let's go ahead and begin our descent here, making sure that the seatbelt sights, etc., are on. Okay, so we have begun our descent here. Throttle gone to idle and descent mode engaged. We should have been 24 something at Raswo, but anyway, let's go down to 21,000 feet immediately, and we'll okay, in time for IMCOM, which is only 3 nautical miles away. Oof. Okay, so we're a little late on our descent, I believe, and I have flown this route before, and every time I fly this route something always goes wrong, so it's best to stay on top of the altitude here. Alright, IMCOM coming up real quickly here. Our speed is still very high. Altitude is high. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and command a direct descent to 13,000 feet. And to help us along, I'm actually going to deploy the speed brakes. Okay, that should help us descend quicker, and it does. Okay, so yes, we are descending a little bit quicker because of that. Actually, much quicker because of that. So we're supposed to be around 13,000 feet at Ramob, I believe, which is coming up really quickly. We are now well into the arrival procedure as well. Let's change the range here so we can have a better look. Oh, sorry. There we go. That is the runway right there. You can have a look at it over here as well. So if we look at this, we can see that the runway is coming up right there very quickly. A typical scene over European skies here. Quite hazy, but apart from that, bit of clouds, nothing too bad. Anyway, our transition altitude, I believe, is 6,000 as we come into Frankfurt. So we still have a long way to go here, and we don't need to turn on our landing lights just yet. Now, is it just me or everything just looks flat in 2024? The textures are very blurry, the ground looks blurry, and everything looks flat in 2024. And mind you, I'm running 4K Ultra, and it still looks like this. I don't know, maybe I'm just being a little bit too nitpicky, but let me know what you guys think. Anyway, to get back to the flight here, speed brake still out. Yes, it is. We know that. That's all right. 13,000 feet has been reached. Okay, that's good. Now we can retract the spoilers here. Let's see, what are we at? Okay, we've managed to make 13,000 feet well before Ramob, which is excellent. Okay, we're back on top of our descent profile here. Following on from here, we will descend to 11,000 feet, 10,000 feet, etc., etc. So let's see how that goes. Alright, we are at 10,000 feet and we're about to make the turn into the parallel downwind leg of the runway we're about to land into. And right there we can see Frankfurt am Main off to our left. And there is that turn that we're just about to make. That will put us downwind parallel to the runway. Let us go ahead and begin our descent towards 8,000 feet here. The scenery in 2024, as much as there's much more detail and the grass and trees are much better close up, from up here this just looks like garbage, man. Instead of trees, we're getting polygons on the ground that looks like the terrain looks like crumpled paper. So yeah, that's it's kind of odd. I must say that it's very good in bush flights though, but when you look at it from up here, it just doesn't cut it, man. I still prefer the way how 2020 looks. Maybe they'll fix that in the future with the servers and the ability to download much of the stuff locally. But as of now, 2024, I don't like it. I just don't. I still fly 2020 more than I do 2024. The only good thing is that I have a lot more aircraft in 2024. If it wasn't for that, I probably wouldn't even open this thing. But anyway, yeah, certain areas are very good in 2024, and others, like right here over Europe, it's just absolute garbage. But anyway, hopefully it gets better when we get closer. We'll have a look, but I don't have much hope for that. You know what, I'm going to repeat the same flight in 2020 and see the difference between the two. That'll give us a good idea. Anyway, getting back to the flight at hand, we're at 8,000 feet. We're on top of our descent profile here. We can actually go ahead and go down to 7,000 feet if we choose to. You know what, I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so that's interesting. We've got a low fuel warning on our left wing here. It says turn on wing feed, the left standby pump to off, and the left pump 1 pump off. Okay, let's do that. Let's do the cross feed. Let's turn this on, and it says left standby off. What else does it ask us to do? It says left pump 1 and pump 2 off. Oh, okay. We can do that. Alright, hopefully that corrects the issue, and apparently it... Oh, what does it say now? Fuel low. Okay. Land ASAP. There's like a 20... Is this in kgs or gallons? I have no... kgs. Okay, so there's like a 20 kg difference between... Okay. You know what? I'm just gonna turn these back on here. Because the fuel seems to have balanced itself. 1940. Yes, we do have low fuel. We need to land ASAP, and we'll do that. Here we are making the final turn into the runway. Let's actually go ahead and descend down to 4,000 feet. We'll also turn on localizer here. I'm gonna enable landing systems. LS, does LS stand for landing system? I'm not sure. But anyway, I have enabled localizer. So hopefully we catch that first. And glide slope should be well above us. Or not yet time to catch it, I have no idea. We're still quite a way away from the runway. I believe about 30 nautical miles away, so which isn't surprising, I am way too early. So we are at 4,000 feet. We've got speed still at 250 knots. And 30 nautical miles are roughly away from the runway. Okay, that's all right. We're supposed to be 220 knots here. We've got a constraint. Okay, let's just go a bit more forward and we'll see how things turn out. We have just got the localizer there. So we've got localizer in. Okay, we have the glide slope showing up right here on our display. So let's go ahead and set the auto brake to medium here. We can arm the speed brakes, ground spoilers rather. The landing lights are already on. Our nose lights, we can actually put them to taxi in advance. Seat belts are on, everything else is on, that's great. We can begin to drop our flaps as soon as we slow down just a little bit. Okay, so let's go ahead and put our flaps to 1. Okay, let's actually turn on our approach just so I don't miss it. So I'm going to leave the approach mode on. I'm also going to turn on the second autopilot here. Let us drop the flap once more to position number 2. We've got our flaps down, landing gear is down. We're at 2,500 feet. Let's go ahead and disengage autopilot here. We can fly this in manually, but we'll continue to use auto throttle. We are now flying it manually. We've got a bunch of warnings here about fuel disagreements, etc, 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 which I am going to ignore for the time being. And let's fly this manually. Ground spoilers are armed. Yes, they are. Got auto brakes, we've got gear, we've got flaps, we are ready to land. Okay, we're above the glide slope, that's okay. We've got plenty of room to bring this down. Okay, I have never managed to land successfully into this runway at Munich. So let's go ahead and see if that is going to happen today. Okay, I'm not going to follow the PAPI lights exactly. I want to come a little bit lower. I want to come under the glide slope to try and get a smoother landing. That is what I'm trying to do today. Let's see. Auto throttle is holding speed well. Okay. Got a slight crosswind component here, but nothing too major, and we are landing into a tailwind. SimBrief did tell me that this is not the ideal runway for today, but anyway, once in a while you gotta switch it up, try something different. Okay, I think the polygons have subsided into trees, have they? I'm not sure. Okay. Coming in too high now, so I'm just gonna try and focus on the landing now.
50, 40, 30, 20, retard, 10, retard.
Okay, we don't even need reverse thrusters, so I'm just gonna turn off the auto brakes here. Okay, that landing was a long one, but fairly straightforward. Let's get out of the runway here. Okay, we want to get off at the end of the runway today, although we should ideally turn off here. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are in Frankfurt. Interesting landing there. We'll have a look at the replay just in a short while, in a couple of seconds actually. Let's just go ahead and get ourselves into, you know what, I'm gonna get ourselves into the right turn right here. We're gonna go ahead and park right here. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have completed our flight for the day. We are in Frankfurt, and look at that. An Etihad cargo looks very nice, 777. We have begun deboarding our cargo for the day. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that flight. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe. I have a lot more different content coming up. Let me know what videos you guys would like to see, what kind of flights you'd like me to do. Feel free to leave suggestions in the comment. With that, I will see you in the next video and have a good day.